You're watching Alaska's news source.
Now at 6, members of Alaska's Catholic community praying in churches across the state today for an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old who were killed, 17 others hurt, shot during a back-to-school mass in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in a Catholic church. 14 of those injured were children. Police say that the shooter died by suicide. Tonight, investigators say the suspect's social media features video diaries describing the killing of children and drawing of the church where the shooting took place, where the shooter's mother once worked. And it is a very somber night as Alaskans join the country in mourning with Minnesota. Tonight, several vigils are underway there in Minneapolis. And right after the news, the events, Alaska's news source, we spoke with a man who lives about a half a block away from the school. After hearing gunshots, the man ran to the school, and he told our Alana Bell Torado about comforting 3 children with head and neck wounds until first responders arrived.
The one with the head wound talked the most because the one with the neck was having a little bit of problem communicating, but not too bad. But the one with the head wound just kept saying, "Please hold my hand." And I did. And she says, I want my mom. I just want my mom. And I said, "I'm going to call your mom. I will get a hold of her. You need to go to the hospital, though, and your mom will be there. And I promise you we'll get a hold of her." And I assured all those kids that I said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you kids, and I will stay with you and take care of you until the police and ambulances come." And I just tried to calm them down, and I think I did, and in the back of my mind, I was looking at their injuries going, "Oh my God, are they going to change on a dime here?" But thank God they didn't. And hopefully they're among the survivors.
Scallon, who we just heard from, attended Annunciation Catholic School from 1960 to 1968. His children graduated from the school as well, he says. Scallon says although he's terribly saddened, he knows that the community will band together and stand strong. That collective sadness also felt here in Alaska as people attending Mass in Anchorage told us how they feel.
Sometimes we're dealing with for evil that we don't know. John Paul called it a mystery of evil. And we just don't know all the answers why this stuff happens. But I just feel like I need to be more resolute, practice my faith more, and just use the parts of my faith that are more loving. And we live in such a heightened environment right now of anything. Just try to be more reconciling and more kind to people.
Unfortunately, school and mass shootings are a real-world reality. In preparation of an emergency, Fairbanks Police actually held a pre-planned active shooter training exercise today to potentially help save lives. We're going to have more on everything involving the Minnesota shooting coming up later tonight on The Late Edition.
And turning to weather, we want to get you prepared for this next storm moving in overnight tonight. Wind and rain impacting South Central with widespread weather alerts across the state. That high wind warning in effect starting overnight tonight, 2 a.m. It's the Anchorage hillside that will see the most extreme conditions, gusts to near 70 miles per hour. But even in town, we'll see those winds ramping up through the morning. Seeing gusts to near 55 miles per hour. And those strong winds will continue through the afternoon and evening all the way into late Thursday. So be prepared for that tomorrow. It is already breezy today. We're currently seeing those wind gusts here in Anchorage at about 30 miles per hour. Temperatures holding in the low 60s. It's just light rain that we're seeing so far, but a lot more of that moisture is on the way. Flood advisories in effect for the Susitna Valley, eastern Kenai Peninsula, southwest corner of the state, and the Brooks Range. So again, it's just a lot of moisture pumping into the state. Winter alert still in effect for snow and ice from the Brooks Range to the slope, and still seeing that heat in southeast. As for the timing on the wind, again, it ramps up overnight. Most extreme winds in the Anchorage Bowl tomorrow afternoon, so be ready for that. Otherwise, we will again see those showers increasing. Heavy rain to start the day. I do expect it to break up midday, even some sun breaks, but another round moves in late Thursday into Friday morning to keep that heavy rain going. I'll have a much closer look at that full Labor Day weekend forecast next.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Governor Mike Dunleavy signed an agreement with the Trump administration today, arguing it will mean coordination in major infrastructure projects, including easier state permitting and development.
Let's let our agency and the federal government work with the state of Alaska and see what we can come up with to make things expeditious, to streamline things, to eliminate duplication.
After the governor said that, he signed the memorandum with the Trump administration's permitting council director. The visit today included both Republican and Democratic lawmakers from across the country. And while they talked about learning how Alaska balances both resource development and conservation, the only time differences came up was about the administration's plan to revoke the roadless rule. A public comment period was announced today on the plan to allow road building and logging on federal lands that are currently protected, and that includes the Tongass National Forest in Alaska. Shortly after the governor's news conference, many of those same resource development leaders headed over to the Dena'ina Center, and that is where the Alaska Oil and Gas Association's annual conference is underway through the end of the week. Joining us to talk about all of it is AOGA member Casey Sullivan. Casey, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy to share a lot of gems with your viewers about a lot of great things that happened today at the 10th annual conference.
Yeah, well, I guess we could start if you want to give us kind of the overview. What's happening this week? Anything you want to shout out or highlight?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, the Alaska Oil and Gas Association, our mission is to promote the long-term viability of the oil and gas industry across Alaska. They've been doing it for decades. And our theme is really people, pride, and petroleum. And today's conference really embodied all of those key tenets. We had over 500 Alaskans, everyone from Nikiski to the North Slope of Alaska there today. And there was a lot of excitement about the policies and projects that are really pushing Alaska forward. And, while we celebrated a lot about projects, we also celebrated people. And today, we had a number of awards, but one in particular to a teacher from Tok, who will receive $2,500 to help promote and help their students learn about a future in the Alaska oil and gas industry up that way. So really a lot of excitement today, and there'll be a lot more tomorrow. All
right, just kicking off today. Now we heard about the governor and the Trump administration talking about making permitting a little easier up here. Just kind of touching on this, often lawsuits occur, right, leading to years of delays in development. So just kind of curious with you guys what we're talking about, if there is some potential there that we're hearing about right now.
In these projects that we're talking about, either in the oil and gas industry, mining, et cetera, right, it's about certainty. These are long-term projects that take a lot of capital investment. So whether it's fiscal certainty or permitting certainty, that really, really matters to make sure that we can make these projects successful for Alaskans to bring them to bear. So agreements today and visits like we had today from our federal delegation and members of the House Natural Resources Committee, that means a lot. It means that they are coming to Alaska and really seeing what it's like to do projects on the North Slope and the long-term, the needs that we have from that project certainty. So the MOU is an example of that, and working hand in hand with the federal government to make sure that we can streamline or make sure that we can expedite processes, not have roadblocks, to making sure that we can get these projects to bear sooner than later.
All right, Casey, we appreciate the time. One more question. The biggest concern that you've heard from members overall, and, what talks are underway to address issues?
Concerns. I mean, I think there's just always a continued dialogue in the project space, and we don't see them as concerns, but just how do we work together to ensure a long-term viability of the oil and gas industry across Alaska? And we work hand in hand with our state and federal regulators at all levels to make sure that we're collaborating and trying to bring these projects together. And it might seem like a problem, but we're really, really good at this, and we really wanted to spend time to make sure that we have a focus to move these projects forward.
All right, Casey Sullivan with AOGA, the Alaska Oil and Gas Association. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Annual conference continues tomorrow at the Dena'ina Center here in Anchorage.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Well, covering Eielson Air Force Base, a new military report blames January's F-35 crash that ended in an explosion on base on ice in the hydraulic lines of the fighter jet's landing gear, saying a lack of discipline, both in storing hydraulic fluid and keeping records about it, led to water getting into the hydraulic fluid. Now, that report released this week says that that's what caused F-35's landing gear to not work properly, saying that the jet system ended up thinking it was on the ground, making the nearly $200 million craft uncontrollable before it crashed. Right before the crash, the report says air traffic controllers, 354th Fighter Wing officials, and representatives from Lockheed Martin, the F-35's manufacturer, had a 50-minute conference call with the pilot trying to fix the problem. The report said if those on the call had used a warning that Lockheed Martin published in April of 2024, saying that the sensor issues could cause the F-35 to lose control, they could have saved the fighter jet by telling the pilot to do a full stop instead of a second touch and go. Alaska's news source did reach out to both Eielson and Lockheed Martin for comment, but have yet to hear back. Well, service members alongside their family have a new place to gather on J-Bear after the USO set up a new lounge for them earlier this month. Georgina Fernandez takes us inside the gates to see that new addition.
1, 2, 3. USO!
An exciting new addition. Now open on J-Bear.
It's just a place to connect, whether it's to family, home, and country.
As the United Service Organizations, or USO, opened its new lounge on the Fort Richardson side of J-Bear.
And community is such an important part of the Alaska culture. This is another extension of that, another demonstration of how we help the community connect to each other.
In simple terms,
Where everyone knows your name.
it's a place to gather.
USO! USO!
On August 21st, the lounge officially opened its doors, marking the second USO lounge to be open on J-Bear.
1, 2, 3.
Celebrating with food, service members from various branches, along with loved ones, came to acknowledge the work of the USO and service members after they managed to set up this new lounge in around 3 months, compared to the traditional 12 to 18 months it takes to set up a USO facility.
This project's been thought about for many years, but key leaders on the Fort Richardson side came together with our team, and in the last 3 months, we've gone from idea to actual opening this.
That grand opening,
It's tough living in Alaska. It's tough serving in Alaska.
just in time for the harsh winter months that aren't that far away. A season that can be associated with isolation and depression. Symptoms linked to the seasonal affective disorder, SAD.
We always talk, right? You got to find your people in the summertime because it gets dark and cold in the winter. And a facility like this is just tremendous. It's more than building, right? It's a symbol of the care, the commitment, and the connection.
That care coming in a form of a game room, already proving to be popular. A computer lounge, relaxation room, and a place.
When you're so far away from what home could be when you're serving in Alaska, this is the place to be with each other.
To simply gather. Inside the gates, Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
All right, and that new lounge is open Monday through Friday. The hours range from around 9 or 10 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. It depends on staffing.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.